Hey folks, Wayne Jennings here with another action camera review, and today we're going to check out this little camera. It's made by XTU. It's the model S6. Now I just want to mention, in the past I've often bought my own cameras and done reviews, but this time the folks at XTU sent this to me free of charge. I didn't pay for it, but I just want you to know they're not paying me to do this review. They're not telling me what to say. They don't even get to see this video before I upload it. So all the opinions are mine. But the camera itself, it's basically your typical action camera capable of shooting 4K at 30 frames. It's got a view screen on the back as well as a view screen on the front, and a few unique features. It has a voice command, so I can use my voice to start and stop recording. It'll shoot vertical video, so it's great for TikTok and Facebook and things like that. And all in all, not a bad little camera considering the price point, but let's just jump right in. I'll show you some of the video that this little camera is capable of recording. The XTU S6 action camera is equipped with a Sony IMX386 image sensor and an Ambarella H22 processor, capable of recording video in resolutions of 720, 1080, 1440, 2.7K, and 4K up to 30 frames per second, and it will record still images up to 20 megapixels in size. Now, let's look inside the box and see what's included with this camera kit. Of course, you get the camera itself, and it comes with this waterproof housing capable of depths down to 40 meters. That's 131 feet. You also get a mounting cage for the camera. There's a single battery rated at 1,350 milliamp hours and a USB Type-C charging cable. There's a nice selection of mounting hardware, including a handlebar mount and tripod adapters. You get two quick-release plates. They both have adhesive tape on the back. One has a built-in tripod socket, and you get two extra pieces of adhesive tape. To help secure your camera, you get some Velcro straps, zip ties, and a metal lanyard. It comes with a 2-button remote control. There's a detailed user manual and a cleaning cloth, and it even ships with a 64 gigabyte memory card and a USB card reader. Okay, let's check out the camera itself. It looks like most action cameras, and it seems to be pretty well built. Even though it's made out of plastic, it seems to be pretty solid. On the front, of course, we have a lens. Beside that is a viewing screen. On the bottom here, it's nice to see there's a 1/4-inch tripod socket, and beside that is the battery door. You just click this button, slide it open, and there's a nice metal spring-loaded hinge there. battery slides in and out, and beside that there's a little slot there for your micro SD memory card. On this side of the camera we have a couple buttons that are used to navigate the menu when you're in the underwater housing. On the far side here there's a speaker, and below that is a little rubberized door that opens up to reveal a couple of ports. We have your HDMI port there, so you can send a video signal to a computer or a TV, and there's a USB Type-C port for charging the battery. Now, to turn it on, there's a power switch on the top, and also a shutter release, and a little microphone between the two. So we're just going to push the power button. You just push it and hold it for a few seconds, and then we should get the splash screen on the back here appearing. There it is. You notice in the very bottom here, there's a little blue LED that just indicates you have power. There's a little LED above that that would light up when the battery's charging. Now this is a touchscreen, 2-inch touchscreen, really easy to navigate. Right now we're in the video mode because of the video icon. If you hit that, there you go, you get some selections here. You can shoot normal video, time-lapse video, slow motion, there's a night mode, you can do car looping, use this as a dash cam, or you can shoot photos and videos at the same time. If I hit this photo button, you get some photo selections, normal photos, time-lapse, a self-timer, burst photo mode, long exposures, and you can even shoot raw photos on here. So we'll go back to the video mode and then go back to the screen there, and I'll show you there's a further selection of menu. If you hit down here, it says 4K 30 because that's the resolution right now, but if I hit that, it opens a nice big menu here where you can go in and make all kinds of changes. For instance, the resolution, if you hit that, you got this drop-down menu, 4K, 2.7K, 1080, 720. So there's all kinds of resolutions. Just find the one you want, hit the button, and you've selected it. And then there's a lot of other things you can select in here. You can select it to do automatic sequences or shoot video 1, 2, 5 minutes long. You turn the audio on or off. There's a pre-recording mode where it will actually start recording before you even push the button. That way you don't miss any important scenes. There's a distortion correction. There's a gyroscope to steady your image. What else do we have here? Oh, you can change the metering mode, exposure compensation. You can adjust the ISO and the white balance. You can adjust things like the sharpness, and down here the image quality. And there's contrast, brightness, and saturation you can adjust, although I suggest you leave those in the normal mode, which is number 3. That's kind of the neutral mode, and make all those adjustments you have to in editing, not in the camera. That's just my opinion. You can change the video codec and change the filters, you know, black and white, sepia, a few fancy things like that. There's also a sub-menu if you hit this button where you can turn the Wi-Fi on, and there's, you know, different things. You can have the camera shut off after a while, auto power off, change the language, change the frequency, turn on wide dynamic range. There's a voice volume, which is just, you know, when you listen to it, but there's also a voice control on here, somewhere down here, voice control. So you can go in and actually give it commands by voice to have it start and stop recording and take photos. That's a really cool feature. And there's also, you can turn a grid on or off to help compose, all kinds of things here. And of course there's this flip one, which is kind of nice because you can do not just upside down, but 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. So you can orient this camera up and down, which is great for, you know, TikTok or Facebook, something like that. There is a zoom on here. See this little plus button? If you push that, it zooms in. And the nice thing on this camera, you can actually zoom in while you're recording. A lot of these cameras you can't, but this one you actually can. So that's kind of a cool feature. You can also hit this button over here, and it loads all the videos and photos that are stored in the camera, so you can play them back. And as I mentioned before, there are 2 screens on this camera, one in the back and one in the front. And to switch them, you just push this button on the top. That's a shutter button, but you hold it for a few seconds, and it switches to the front screen. So you can kind of see, there I am down at the bottom. So it's a great way to compose shots so that you've got your proper headroom and you've framed up whatever's behind you. All right, let's do a little audio test on this camera. I'm not too far away, about arm's length, and my voice is being picked up by the internal microphone on the camera. And in my opinion, it does a very good job, much better than a lot of other cameras in this league. So, you know, to me, that is good, usable audio. But this camera has another feature. You can get a plug-in microphone like so. It uses a USB Type-C connection. Plug that in and you'll get even better audio. So I'll just plug that in and you can hear the difference. Okay, so I plugged this microphone in, and as you can see, there's a little clip on here, so I can clip it to my shirt and be hands-free and talk, and my audio is recorded on the microphone, goes to the camera. There's a cable here. Now, unfortunately, the cable's not very long. It's only about 3.5, 4 feet, which is unfortunate. Most of these come with like a 6-foot cable, so you get a little further away. But you still get better sound, especially when you turn your back to the camera. I can be facing something and talking about something behind me, but the audio is still going to be very good because my voice is being picked up on here and not on the camera. Now, the only downside to this microphone is it's not included with the camera. If you want to get one, you have to contact customer service and they'll arrange to send you one. So that's the unfortunate thing, but it is worth getting if you want to get better audio. Check out this time lapse, nice and smooth. For this scene, I recorded 1 frame of video every 5 seconds. And this camera does a pretty good job taking still images. You can shoot 8, 12, 16, or 20 megapixels, and you can take photo time lapse, burst photo, long exposures, and there's a self timer. This camera can be operated at a distance using the included remote control. Really simple, 2 buttons on there, one starts video, one shoots photo. Or you can download the app to your phone and use Wi-Fi, connect your camera that way. However, there's a really simpler way, and it's called voice control built into this camera. Just go to the menu where it says voice control, you just turn it on, and you can basically give it verbal commands. And there's even a list in here, it says command list. Click on that. Shows you what the commands are: video start, video stop, turn screen on, turn screen off, turn Wi-Fi on, turn Wi-Fi off, and take photo. Really, really simple. It's great. Say you're out fishing, you got this mounted in the front of your fishing boat, and all of a sudden you catch that big fish, you start reeling it in. All I have to do is look at the camera and say, start video, and it'll start recording. It's so simple and so easy. Let's have a look at some slow motion. This first scene was recorded at 720 at 120 frames per second. Smooth, but a bit soft to my eye. Now we've bumped the frame rate up to 240 frames per second, and as you can see, it's very smooth, but this 720 resolution is way too soft for my liking. So I tried shooting at 1080 at 120 frames per second, and this definitely looks a lot sharper. There are many adjustments you can make on this camera, including white balance that can be set to auto, daylight, cloudy, tungsten, and fluorescent high. The ISO can be left on automatic or set to 100, 200, 400, 800, or 1600 ISO. There are 3 metering choices: center, average, and spot, and the exposure can be adjusted up or down by 3 stops in half-stop increments. This camera has 2 levels of image stabilizer, normal and super. Now right now it's off. You're just getting a shot of the camera without the image stabilizer. There's the same shot walking forward. You can see there's a few bumps there, and back to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to retrace my steps, walk over the same terrain with the image stabilizer turned on. Okay, same scene, only this time the image stabilizer is set to normal. So as you can see, it does smooth things out a bit. Turn the camera around. There's that same shot walking forward along this road. Definitely a bit smoother, and back to me. So that was normal. Now we'll switch it to super, and you can see if it's even better. All right, walking over the same terrain here, and I've switched the image stabilizer to super, so it should be a lot smoother. I'll just turn the camera around. There's that same shot walking down the roadway. It is set to super, and back to me. So As you can see, you have two levels. Obviously, the Super seems to do a better job. Let's check out the Lens Distortion Correction function, or LDC for short. In this scene, the LDC is turned off. Notice the curve on the horizon caused by the wide-angle lens. Now, let's turn the LDC on and presto, that curve disappears and the horizon now looks level and normal. In conclusion, the XTU S6 is not a bad little camera. Shoots really nice video, especially at 1080 and 2.7K. The 4K video looks really nice. However, I did notice in some shadow areas or dark areas of the scene, there was a bit of video noise in there. Certainly not as clean and sharp as I would get, say, with the GoPro. But for most instances, it's certainly usable. Another thing is the lens on here. I was a little disappointed. The wide-angle lens is nice. It covers a nice area. But I found on the edges, things tend to distort a little bit. If you have a group of people, the people on the edges, it kind of bows out, giving you that keystone effect. My advice is leave this lens with the lens distortion correction. Leave that turned on, and everything looks nice and normal. The other thing, this has what they call the super view, which basically just stretches the image, and in my opinion, it's a bit of a gimmick. It actually distorts the image. Things just look wider and squatter. So to me, it's a gimmick. Do not use that super view. Just leave the lens normal setting and you'll be fine. But there's a lot of positive attributes with this camera. The audio is good, really good, just with the built-in mic, and the fact that you can get a plug-in mic just gives you much better audio options. I like the fact that this camera can shoot vertical format, so it's great for, TikTok and YouTube shorts and things like that. I really like the voice command. That's great if I've got this mounted, in the front of my boat and I'm paddling along and I'm fishing. I catch a fish and I can just tell the camera to start recording, and it does. Really, really nice feature to have. Another great thing about this camera is the battery life. I was really, really impressed. I shot continuous 4K. I got 2 hours and 9 minutes. And then I did the same test at 1080. 3 hours and 31 minutes of continuous shooting with the battery that comes with this. That is amazing for these action cameras. That's double what I normally get on a camera like this. So overall, very impressive. It's, considering the price, there's a lot of really good features that you can find on the XTU S6 action camera.